Tesla, I guess the analogy is they're like the mechanical white rabbit at the dog race, you know. You're never going to get the rabbit. You just hope you're the fastest dog, right? I mean, he's vertically integrated into batteries before it was fashionable. A lot of people are like, that's a horrible use of capital. He's controlling his own destiny. He doesn't want to move at the pace of, you know, a conglomerate in a foreign country somewhere.
Hey, I'm Steven and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So in today's video, I'm reacting to comments from Morgan Stanley analyst Adam Jonas, who has declared that it is officially impossible to catch up to Tesla. Surprise, surprise. This isn't news to anyone who's a regular viewer of the channel, but it's good to see somebody like Adam Jonas stating this in unequivocal terms. Also in today's video, just for a little bit of contrast, we'll see a CNBC anchor out himself as completely, and I mean completely clueless about the electric vehicle industry. What a shock. So with that said, let's get into the video. If you love crypto, stocks, and free stuff, or just want to help out the channel, check out these great offers. BlockFi are launching the world's first Bitcoin rewards credit card. People in the US can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase with no annual fee using the BlockFi Bitcoin rewards credit card. Check out the link in the description. And for a limited time, you can get up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, where you can use cryptocurrency to earn interest, borrow cash, and buy or sell crypto. If you want your free crypto, use the link in the description. And if you'd like up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $300 just for opening an account. And if you make an initial deposit of $5 or more, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $2,000. Seriously. Free stocks? Yes, please. And finally, if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also linked in the description. Thanks so much for your support, guys. Let's get back to it.
Yeah, Carl, we think this is like the barnstorming era, kind of like early aviation, Amelia Earhart setting records all the time. That's what happens when you take $100 billion a year, I think conservatively, just aimed at batteries, Carl. Might be double that or more when you look at the whole EV ecosystem. You compound that over a decade, and man, we don't even know where this is going to end up. The whole battery and EV ecosystem is still very much maturing, and not taking anything away from Lucid. Love the car. The thing ripped my face off on the West Side Highway a couple months back, but just careful of declaring victory a little too soon. This is a marathon.
You do layer your conversation regarding Lucid, at least, and I guess batteries in general, with a question of whether or not range makes you sacrifice other things, like safety, for example. I wonder, are you a little suspicious of the market's apparent thirst for extreme range?
Well, range is important, but it's not the only thing. It's cycle, it's recyclability, it's how clean your battery is, you know, CO2 per kilowatt hour produced. It's how redundant and secure the supply is, the speed of charging. So range is very important, don't get me wrong, but we wish there was a little more transparency around how big the battery is. I'm sure that will come out over time. You know, Lucid has some pretty cool technology where the battery is not just in the bottom, but also maybe other parts of the architecture of the car, and that's great. But maybe we look back, Carl, 5 or 10 years from now and say, wow, why did we even have these giant batteries, these giant massive batteries, when you could fast charge in a minute or two, and you could have a smaller, more sustainable form factor in the car with a more dense charging network that kind of obviated the need to carry all that energy with you. Does that make sense?
This is a really good point from Adam Jonas. Completely agree. For those of you who missed yesterday's video, the Lucid Air Dream Edition has achieved an EPA range of 520 miles. Great engineering, although we don't actually know the exact size of the battery pack yet, so it's yet to be seen just how good the engineering is. But in either case, this is excellent. However, as I also said in yesterday's video, the vast majority of consumers do not need this kind of range. It is massive overkill. Somewhere around 300, 350 miles, maybe 400 miles, absolute maximum, will suit the vast majority of consumers. Now, I just want to emphasize vast majority of consumers doesn't mean all consumers. I did have a few geniuses in the comments yesterday. Oh my God, Steven, but what if you drive on the Autobahn all the time and you go really fast? Oh my God, Steven, I tow my boat all the time. Oh my God, I live in freezing cold temperatures, Steven, I need more range. That's valid, but you're the minority of consumers, so please be clear. I do understand that there are some instances where even more than 300, 400 miles of range would be useful, but those are the minority of cases. So most consumers out there don't need that much range. So Adam Jonas has raised a very valid point here. given that it seems extremely likely that the entire automotive industry is going to be massively constrained in terms of the number of battery cells they can get and put in vehicles over the next 10 plus years. It makes a lot of sense for them to think, well, should we allocate these cells in the most strategic way possible and make the most number of vehicles to suit the most number of consumers we possibly can? Or should we make vehicles with extraordinarily long range just so we have bragging rights? I think with sufficient charging infrastructure, most automakers are going to try to skew the battery sizes as small as they possibly can to suit most consumers rather than trying to flex on the industry and saying they've got the longest range vehicle.
Yeah, Adam, I want your take on that sound that we just played from Elon Musk and why he might have said it. Chinese automakers are the most competitive in the world. Isn't that demonstrably false? I don't see Chinese cars on the road in the US. When I visit Europe on occasion, when I used to do that, I didn't see a lot of Chinese cars on the road there. I mean, they might be innovative, maybe, I don't know, because I don't see them, but they're not globally competitive.
So isn't that comment from the CNBC anchor there demonstrably moronic? Now, there's a few reasons that this is truly moronic, and yes, I just want to emphasize moronic there. Questioning whether or not Elon Musk made an accurate statement when the guy has absolutely no clue what he's talking about. One, the Chinese electric vehicle market is the largest electric vehicle market on the planet. Two, when we're talking about globally competitive, we're not talking about selling vehicles in a certain country and therefore it's global. We're talking about being competitive based on all of the electric vehicles on planet Earth, which are getting the best range, the best prices, the best software, the best features, the best functionality, etc. Chinese electric vehicle market is far and away the most mature electric vehicle market on planet Earth. There's some great companies there producing some really good vehicles for great prices there also. But I don't see them on American roads. I don't see them, so they must not exist. 10 out of 10 logic, you idiot. This is just such a colossally moronic thing to say. You know, speaking of Chinese and dominance and being the best in the world, let's talk about Chinese weightlifting for a moment. A great analogy here would be if they were talking about the dominance of Chinese weightlifters with all the world records, all the Olympic records, blah, 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 and saying, isn't that demonstrably false? I haven't seen any Chinese weightlifters breaking Olympic records in my local gym. Have you guys noticed by now that I kind of get triggered by morons, stupidity, and incompetence?
I think it is not demonstrably false. I think Elon's right, actually. Right now in real time in the U.S., out of the 3 U.S. automakers, there's really only one vehicle that's really on sale produced right now. That's the Mustang Mach-E, and that's actually made in Mexico. You know, GM obviously is having issues with the Bolt and others. There's just nothing else there. So when you talk about the biggest electric vehicle market in the world, I think he's right. I think what Elon's trying to convey, though, is that Beijing and Elon kind of need each other right now. They need each other for different ways. We think Beijing's in control of that relationship, though, and as the car becomes connected and essentially a dual-purpose military-grade AI robot operating in a natural monopoly, Elon's national security clearance is higher than yours, higher than mine, so he knows how this is going to end up, and so he's allowed to operate there for now. I get a little concerned when I hear people say that a U.S. firm can have 50% of miles traveled in a robotic network as long as they keep the data in China. John, you're a tech guy. Let me ask you, and you look at sensitive industries, let me ask you something. Can you imagine a Chinese AI, robo-taxi, whatever network operating in the streets of Chicago, telling the United States, we promise to keep the data in Illinois? Is that realistic?
It's about as realistic as a U.S. company saying the same thing to China.
Right.
Actually, it's less realistic. Your point is very well taken. Yes.
The point is that the industry is changing. When you're selling a dumb hunk of metal that doesn't even know what time it is, then you can have a consumer product with a foreign presence. But when it becomes connected and you know where the party member is and where their wives and children are going and the movement of all this, you know, supplies and military equipment, it's like, all right, this is a utility now. And I'm not trying to single out China here. We think Germany and France and other of our allies as well will be very concerned about foreign presence, and so you get this regression. We think it's one of the reasons why we're bearish on the EV market is it's competitive. We think the pace of investment is growing faster than the TAM. We think that the market's more fragmented. It's a crowded, smaller room than we think people realize.
Finally, Adam, we had you on in late February. At the time, your quote was, where are all these batteries going to come from? That's our #1 question right now, to be honest. Ford yesterday and these reservations for the Lightning, are they going to be victim to that same sort of battery crunch?
Listen, I'll touch on Tesla with that answer, Carl. You know, Tesla, I guess the analogy is they're like the mechanical white rabbit at the dog race. You know, you're never going to get the rabbit. You just hope you're the fastest dog, right? I mean, he's vertically integrated into batteries before it was fashionable. A lot of people were like, that's a horrible use of capital. He's controlling his own destiny. He doesn't want to move at the pace of, you know, a conglomerate in a foreign country somewhere. He's doing it here and he'll let it be copied elsewhere. So yeah, I think there'll be some shortages, not just in amount, but where it is produced, how it is produced, how it is recycled, how clean it is. And so if you got to think along those levels, and he's kind of in pole position there, and that will matter.
So that was a great analogy there from Adam Jonas, in a nutshell, stating unequivocally that no one is going to be catching up to Tesla. It's just a battle for a distant second place. He's right. I know he's right. You know he's right. Sandy Munro knows he's right. Tony Seba knows he's right. Kathy Wood knows he's right. CNBS don't know he's right. Most Wall Street stock analysts don't know he's right. Most retail investors out there investing in new EV startups also don't know he's right. But he is, in fact, right.
Again, the industry's facing, it's an exciting time. I don't want to try to be bearish on EVs. This is a historic moment, and there's money to be made. But a lot of these startups are entering. It's easy to compare yourself to Elon and Tesla. It's hard to compete against them, particularly when you're entering the riskiest part of launching and ramping production. Very, very risky time.
Adam Jonas dropping truth bomb after truth bomb today. Great quote there. It's easy to compare yourself to Elon if you're an idiot. By the way, shout out to Trevor Meltdown Milton. Enjoy your freedom while it lasts. But it's not easy to compete with Elon. Now, this is a really important point. I think the majority of retail investors out there today investing in these EV startups and these EV SPACs are deluding themselves, naively assuming that it's easy to reach volume production without going bankrupt. I guess time will tell. But I'm with Adam Jonas on this one. Not going to be easy. And in either case, as Adam has pointed out, and as I've been repeating now for almost 2 years since starting this channel, Tesla has already won. There is no catching them. It's now just a battle for a distant second place. And speaking of, let's rewind the clock back literally 1 decade, 10 years ago, to a then confidential Tesla internal presentation that happened to state their intended goal over the long term. I quote, "Second place should need a telescope to see us. Elon Musk, 2011. Well, 10 years later, it turns out they hit the nail on the fucking head and Tesla has achieved their goal. As they say, clarity is power. Tesla knew what they were aiming for and they have successfully achieved this goal. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You guys and girls happy to hear a Wall Street stock analyst stating in no uncertain terms that it is now literally impossible to catch Tesla? I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card, where you can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase. There's a link in the description. You can also earn up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, also linked below. And finally, don't forget your free stocks with WeBull and Stake, also linked in the description. These great offers also help out the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.